say to everybody, and this is for you, Christy. Behave yourself. That's what I tell all my guests. I'll broaden it out. Behave yourselves, everybody. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. Everybody wave hello. And Matt, you can send us the feed. We're ready to go.
All right. Have a good show.
Thank you.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Introducer Voice. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now. If I say vroom, vroom, does that give you a hint, a clue about what we're doing on today's show? It's a topic I haven't covered in a while, and some very nice people got in touch with me on LinkedIn, which is where I find a lot of my guests and my topics, and said, let's talk about the future of automotive and AI. Well, my goodness, Bonnie, it's been a while. What would Doc Emmett Brown say in Back to the Future? Where we're going, we don't need roads. I don't know. I think we still do. What would anybody from Back to the Future? Yes, including him. What would George and Jane Jetson say? Vroom, up into the stratosphere with something. I don't know how they powered it, but it made for good cartoons. There we go. When Christy saw that I was subtitling the show, what would George Jetson say? She said, "Do you have an older demographic in your listeners?" I said, "No, I don't think so. It's just an iconic name in Comedyville from something that was related to cars years ago." So thank you for that question, Christy. So I'm going to do my little opening poem for my guests who have. Clint Crook has been on with me a couple of years ago. Everybody else is brand new. I'm going to do an opening poem that I co-versed, I call it, co-wrote with ChatGPT. And I'm going to have a little guessing game with all of you when I'm done. So just so you know, I'm the human who edits what ChatGPT writes. This is not a straight AI poem, just so in case you're worried that it's taking over the world of poetry. We won't do that. So when I call your name, please just wave furiously to the audiences. Here we go. Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey profound where Bonnie D and her scarlet mic promise to astound. I do promise. In the realm where gears meet codes, automotive futures unfold. AI whispers to engines hum, driving us toward what's to come. Cars that learn, predict, and steer, navigating roads, we hope, without fear. It's human fear. Innovations weave with silicon might, guiding us into the future's bright light. Together they dance and harmony blend, transforming how our journeys wend. Automotive and AI hand in hand, shaping our travels in tomorrow's land. Now, in the spirit of automotive and AI's embrace, my 4 futurist predictions, my savvy guests, will be setting the pace. Here we go. It took a while, but I got there. Clint Crook, wave hello, a STELLA automotive leader with skills refined in AI, cloud, projects of every kind. 25 years, oh, he's driving. 25 years in the automotive domain, steering through tech's evolving terrain. I hope you like that,
I
Clint.
do. That's nice.
Good. Christy Thaxton is with us, scaling business stride from Coca-Cola to NetApp. She's the real deal bona fide. Now Microsoft Director of Partner Development for Manufacturing ISVs. That's a big business card, Christy. She forges collaborations and leverages AI with great ease. I hope you like that, Christy. Oh, she did. Good. I can rent these poems out to all of you for your new bios. Rich Sands is with us, CEO of STELLA Automotive AI, passionate and transformative, reaching for the sky with a track record in Ford, Covincent, Portals, and more. Rich leads the way in new high-tech lore. Rich, oh, he liked the lore, yes. And Vic Inglese, associate partner at Infosys for over 40 years. His expertise can't miss in automotive and finance. Vic has left his mark in SAP transformations. He adds his special spark. Vic, what do you think?
Very nice.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad. I always take a risk at this. Now, buckle up, dear audience, for this insightful ride. The alliance of automotive and AI cannot be denied. Tune in and listen or watch the future of automotive and AI today. We're bringing you predictions. What would the Jetsons and Doc Emmett Brown say? So do we get a thumbs up for the poem? What do you think? Pretty cool?
Very nice.
Okay, here's the quiz. How long did it take for ChatGPT. Once I gave it a couple sentences to start, I gave it all of your bios. Vic, your complete bio, Rich, yours, Christy, yours, Clint, yours, and then I clicked submit. How long before it gave me back the basic poem? Clint, how much time?
17 seconds.
Okay. Vic, how much time?
22.
Okay. Rich?
17.1.
Oh, you're very scientific. Christy, how much
Right.
time?
2.3 seconds.
We got a winner. It's actually about 2.3 seconds. And I have a debate going on with a gentleman named Dan Geller from his agency is called Renegades, and he talks about AI on LinkedIn. If you're not following him, tell him Bonnie sent you and follow him. And he said, you don't have to be polite to AI anymore. It will be more efficient. Okay. So he said, you don't have to say please and thank you. And that was great. And wow. But I was brought up, a nice girl on Long Island, New York. And I'm polite. So I still say, please, how are you this afternoon? Could you please help me with this? I need a poem and blah, blah, blah. Well, I continue with the politesse, the politeness. And I will tell you that ChatGPT is actually, Christy, breaking records. It used to be I'd count to 3, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. Now I barely get to 2 plus that 0.3. The poem is there, right there. It ingests everything. You know how much is in the 4 bios combined? Can you imagine the text? Anyway, let's get on with the show. So I want to thank you for enjoying the poem. I do this on all my shows now and have a lot of fun with it. Not what you would expect on a normal radio show. So let's go around the table and really get to meet and greet all of you. Clint Crook, nice to see you again. You're at STELLA now. Clint, I'm putting you on speaker view. Please just do us the honor of condensing your entire life story and your history in automotive and your passion for being on our topic today in 3 minutes or less. Clint, go.
Yes, thank you, Bonnie, for having me on the show again and having my esteemed colleagues introduce themselves, which will happen soon. Really quite honored to be a part of the show today. Automotive and AI is really my bailiwick, if you will. Born and raised here in Detroit, obviously the automotive box is checked off. But as a lifelong learner, I'm certified in AI through Microsoft, as well as a couple other certifications of note. And so I love the technology. I love the passion that AI can bring. Rich and I were in a customer meetings this past couple of days, and they're excited. They're passionate about how it can transform how they do business with real business outcomes. And so as it kind of relates to my background, I love marrying the two of automotive and technology present day with AI technology and really kind of see my customers light up when we can combine the two.
I like lighting up. We have a new TV show called Married with Wheels or Married with AI.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I just had to throw that in. Thank you very much, Clint. And Clint and I worked on putting this show together, and he invited the panelists. But Vic is here by courtesy of our mutual contact, Tom Madonna, who is usually on many of my automotive shows. So let's go to Christy next. Christy Thaxton, I met you about 14 and a half minutes ago, and I can't wait to hear who you are. Tell us the story. Go ahead, Christy.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I blame my mother for my being here today. She told me that if there was something that I was scared of, that it would be a lot less scary if I learned more about it. And I will say that one of my earliest freak out moments for technology was at an auto show, probably, I'm going to say around 12, 13, and they were showing the future of cars. And I was so scared. I didn't watch the Jetsons because it scared me. The dog, the robots, they just creeped me out. I never watched the Terminator because I was scared of that. So I think my curiosity and my need to control my life led me down this path of just learning about technology more and more. So I think that's really fitting for where we're at today in AI. And I'm very glad that I work for one of the world's largest companies who I feel very comfortable with AI in the hands of Microsoft. And I don't know if I could say that about any other company because we've always put trust first. So that curiosity got me here. It hasn't let me down. I had the absolute pleasure of walking the streets of San Jose today, where I'm at the NVIDIA conference called GTC. So I'm coming to you live from San Jose. I started my tech career at a company called NetApp. as a startup. I was employee number 751. And at the end of the street where I'm staying is the new headquarters. And it is a near full city block. And to see my baby grow up like that was just incredible this morning. So very cool. I was born in Detroit. So also like Clint from the D, 313, born bred. It was inevitable that I was going to end up in manufacturing in the auto space. I had a very novel job at Microsoft when I started my 18-year now journey there. And we were selling to business decision makers instead of IT. So that was a very new thing. Then I was in a meeting with this man named Steve Ballmer. You may recognize the name, Detroit man as well. He was the CEO. And he actually said something to the effect of this guy, Satya Nadella, said, we've got to move to the cloud. And he said, I'm really glad that I listened to him. So now, for those who may not know, Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft. I have been working in the cloud journey with customers at Microsoft. We took about 600,000 seats of Office 365, your mail you probably use every day likely, to the cloud. So really early in the adoption of technology. And at that time, our CIOs were saying it's going to be a cold day in hell before our email is in the cloud. Now, I think you all probably know everything is in the cloud today. So now my job currently, as you all know, the phones wouldn't be your phones without the applications that run on them. And the cloud from Microsoft is just this amazing platform, but it has to have applications to run on top of it. So my current job now is helping the world's largest manufacturing industry software vendors build on top of the cloud platform. And the keynote address that Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, gave the other day, 4 of my partners that I currently manage in my role with Microsoft, all were mentioned as a part of that keynote for what they're doing to revolutionize AI and the automotive industry. So very cool. It was a very proud moment this week. I told my dad last week that I was going to California, and he said, what are you going for? And I said, I'm going to attend this NVIDIA conference, GTC. And he said, what? That's the hottest ticket in town. I can't believe my daughter is going to that conference. So proud moment. Started with my mom, ends with my dad. And that's how I've managed my technology career.
Thank you. That's quite a story, Christy. I'm always happy to meet women in the automotive space. And that's another story I'll tell you afterwards, after the show. But I wanted to say, when you talked about conquering your fears and the need for control, I was going to say I have a very good therapist. I'd be happy to share him with you because I have the same issue. So yes, Rich like that. Vic like that too. Okay, just a personal note there. Let's move around the table. Rich Sands, you're up next. Can't wait to hear your story. Share it with us. Vic, Rich, welcome. Vic is next. Go ahead, Rich.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks so much. What funny themes I'm hearing through Christy and Clint as well. But yeah, Rich Sands, CEO of STELLA Automotive AI. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us today. My story started early on with a first job out of college. I was working for a contract manufacturer, so a high-tech manufacturer of circuit boards. We were the company that built all the Dell computers. So when you put an order in back in the mid-90s for Dell.com, we received that order, built the computer, and shipped it out in a Dell box. Really state-of-the-art technology and supply chain management. So I found myself out in Silicon Valley, ironically, where Christy is now in Silicon Valley. You know, a guy from Detroit. You know, the auto companies had just started rolling out email mid-90s, and I go out to Silicon Valley, and everyone's working on the internet and ordering lunch online. These were like never before seen or heard things. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And I fly back, one airplane ride back to Detroit, and then we're rolling out email. So to me, I call it riding the lightning, but this is where my career has always been, slammed between manufacturing and automotive and cutting edge technology. And I really enjoy that space because it's about pushing change in a very meaningful and impactful and measurable way into an industry, which is my favorite, automotive. There's so many elements to automotive that drive such a significant portion of the GDP. And then to see this technology come forth through so many different areas, specifically, number one was in the advent of obviously the internet and being able to move that through Covisint, and we launched these industry verticals that connected OEMs and tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. And then I moved into JD Power and ran the Power Information Network. At JD Power and PIN, for those of you that are familiar, the largest network of connected dealerships reporting real-time data from the dealerships, which is very exciting to understand the data side of it as well. From there, moved into Microsoft and spent time there again with our great friend Satya Nadella, who was running this new division called Azure. And again, everything going to the cloud to see, again, automotive industry embrace cloud services, cloud technology, and be able to monetize that. Phenomenal. And then from there, spend time on the board at Urban Science, big data, and understanding now that we've got this big data in the cloud, what do you do with it? How do you convert that into value for the industry? From there, my career spent time with private equity firms, and through multiple different contacts was connected with STELLA Automotive AI. And here at STELLA, we are sitting at the forefront of the industry, literally defining what AI in automotive retail is, as the leading provider of voice AI, SMS, and chat across the full spectrum of automotive and all interactions between OEM, brand, dealer, and most importantly, the customer. So thrilled to be part of this panel, this discussion today. Thrilled to be part of this company and lead STELLA and all the associates that are out there listening, and all of our customers. So thanks for having us, Bonnie, and look forward to the discussion today.
Thank you, Rich. When you were talking, when you said automotive and the cloud, I'm thinking George Jetson could have latched onto that, Christy, because he'd say, cloud, car, go, robo taxis, cars, we're flying in the clouds. There you go. So we just had a Jetson moment. Thank you for that, Rich. I appreciate that. Vic, you're up next. Let's hear from you. I met you through Tom Madonna. He said, have I got a guy for you for the panel? And Vic appeared and you sent me everything right away. And I was so impressed. So Vic, go ahead. You're on speaker view and welcome.
Thanks for having me. So I'm Vic Inglese. I'll start out by saying I've been an auto enthusiast all my life. Worked on Wall Street for a number of years, multiple brokerage firms, and then joined a consulting firm and just got involved with Mercedes just as we were acquiring Daimler. So that is my introduction into the real automotive world. Worked with them for a number of years, helped with the merger of the financial services companies, moved the consulting world for a couple of years, actually for the last 20-something years. Worked for most of the large consulting firms, working primarily in the financial services and automotive industries, worked for a number of the big automotive firms, been involved in looking at the future of technology, as well as the application of AI, not only in the automotive space, but in the captive finance space, and looking at how that works as well. Because obviously you can't buy something unless you can finance it. And the techniques that are happening in that world are amazing at this point in time, the targeting and finding who's the right customer for what product. So I look forward to this panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brief and to the point. I appreciate that. We've got quite a background. If we put together all the years, I'm not going to do it, of all of your experiences. But I'll tell you that recently I've been finding out that my guests who don't know each other, for example, Clint and Christy and Rich don't know Vic, and Vic doesn't know them until today. My panelists are actually meeting and greeting off air. They're starting projects together. I found out two of my panelists on a show a couple months ago are now writing a book together, and
Wow.
I didn't know any of that. So I'm saying don't be shy. You all know who you are. You've got each other's bios and all that. I'm just in Yiddish, it would be making a shidduch if anybody knows what this is. Maybe it's like a matchmaking. Yes. Okay, so let's move on. I've asked each of you to please send me a quote from a fictional character in a movie or TV show or a song lyric, and you're going to relate it to our topic today, the future of automotive, and AI. And Clint Crook has sent me a classic quote from Dorothy Gale, played by Judy Garland. Of course, The Wizard of Oz, one of the most classic, beloved movies ever. 1939 American musical fantasy film produced by MGM. It's an adaptation of L. Frank Baum's 1900 children's fantasy novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, characterized by its use of technicolor, fantasy storytelling, musical score, and memorable characters. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards and only won the award for the best song, Over the Rainbow, and the best original score. Interesting. It didn't make a profit until 1949 when it was re-released, and it was MGM's most expensive production to date. Here is the quote Clint has selected. Take 2 minutes because we want to get to the predictions. Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Clint, take it away. What are we doing? Are we driving there? Go ahead.
Right, we're driving there. Can you imagine what that movie, I forget what it's called now, of course, but the movie that from the quote. And can you imagine what AI, if that was produced using AI, how far out that movie would be right now? That would be very cool. But no, the quote when I was thinking about this is that AI is changing everything that we know about the world. And so we're not in Kansas anymore, meaning that all the professional and personal norms that are going on that we're used to for the last decade, 5 years, 2 years, are basically thrown out the window, and AI is now evolving as well as educating us on really kind of what the future is and what the future could be. AI in every kind of stitch of the world, finance, R&D, manufacturing, agriculture. John Deere has a huge AI development around what a anomaly is in the field, versus a crop, and the crop looks like this versus what a weed looks like, and using lasers to kill off the weed, the invasive weed in the crop bed. AI is here to stay. It's educating us on what we can do with it, and through our business supply chain, how we can have more efficiency through it.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I wonder what the Wizard of Oz, there's
Yes,
another
the
famous
Wizard of
quote
Oz.
from the movie. The quote is, "Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain."
Right,
That could be
exactly.
something we could say too about AI today.
Right,
Pay no
exactly.
attention to the man behind the curtain. What did he do to us? What have they done to my song, Ma? Somebody quoted that on the show recently. Let's move on. Christy has sent a quote from a song from 2004 by the English singer Natasha Bedingfield. I remember some of her hits. Very, very good singer. The song is Unwritten. It was released in November 2004 as the debut album's third single, blah, 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 blah. It was the most played song on U.S. radio during 2006, as confirmed before her performance at the concert for Diana, and it was certified platinum in 2006. There we go. So, and there's a video showing her as the cover. She's the cover of a small animated book in a library, and the book is climbing up, talking about AI, climbing up a bookshelf. As it gets higher, the shelf becomes a cliff. It's snowing at the top. The book sees a dove. The book is now personified, sees a dove, falls off, the book is torn apart, and people are picking up the pages and looking up into the sky, and the lyrics reflect her concerns with the process of writing, which is expressed in another song called These Words. Here is the quote Christy has selected. Can't wait to hear how this relates to automotive. "The rest is still unwritten." Oh, Christy, tell us, please.
Yeah, that video sums it up well. So like Clint said, AI is changing everything in automotive, the way that the cars are built. We used to do clay and sketch. Obviously, that's no longer. The way that we buy, the way that we drive, the way that we're going to engage with brands in the future, it is changing the people inside the companies. The speaker I heard yesterday said, well, 2 months ago, I was the chief data officer. Now I'm the chief data and AI officer. Had to add those 2 letters. It's part of the game now. It is changing the way that the companies look at themselves. I remember a long time ago that Rocket Mortgage, Quicken Loans, you think of as a traditional banking company, said, we're not a banking company, we're a data company. All the companies now are data companies. The automotive OEMs are data companies. We may be talking about that here more later. And it's changing the world when we're looking at, making a whole digital representation of the world and all the predictions that can come with that in terms of the way that we're driving and the climate issues. And it's incredible what we're going to do there. And when we talk about what is going to happen with brick and mortar and how we're going to buy cars and what happens to the million people that work within the dealerships now selling vehicles, are we even going to have a place to go and buy a vehicle? So what we talked about here is that 2023 was start of a new industry, generative AI. There was no market for this last year. They took share from nothing. So we're defying Moore's law, which said in the heyday of the PCs that every 10 years we were going to have 100 times the computational power. Now, Jensen said in the keynote that it is going to be that we are 1,000 times more computational power in only 8 years. Who knows where this is going to go? The companies that are here have said The chips that NVIDIA is making are defying physics with the next generation of Blackwell. We're defying now the impossible. So the speakers here have said, embrace the impossible. We have limitless potential. We're already doing the impossible today. That is the one common theme. So the song lyrics are, it's a blank page. It's undefined. It's just the beginning. The pen's in the hand. The ending is unplanned, breaking tradition and going outside the lines. So I think the rest is still unwritten. Sums it up pretty nicely. We have no idea where this AI thing is going to go in automotive.
Thank you very much. I was almost asking you, Christy, if you would sing a little bit of the song.
I know you don't like to, but yeah.
I make a great effort not to sing on my show.
I think that's a great idea, Bonnie.
She's singing. See, Christy, start again. What? Go ahead.
Staring at the blank page before us.
Okay, we got a little snippet there. Thank you. We're going to give her the next Grammy. Very, very nicely done. Okay, let's go to Rich has selected a quote from Joshua. It's a computer, he's a computer called WOPR. Clint is nodding his head. War Operation Plan Response from the movie War Games, 1983 political sci-fi thriller film. Joshua is a supercomputer system gifted with artificial intelligence, created and developed by a scientist in the movie. Let's see now. War Games directed by, I'm reading here, blah, 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 blah. It's credited, the movie is credited with popularizing the concepts of computer hacking, information technology, and cybersecurity in American society. It has spawned video games, a sequel in 2008, and an interactive series in 2018. Matthew Broderick plays David Lightman, a bright but unmotivated Seattle High School student and hacker who uses his IMSAI 8080 computer to access the school district computer system, what else is new, and change his grades. He unwittingly, they say in the movie, accesses a U.S. military supercomputer program to simulate, predict, and execute nuclear war against the Soviet Union, triggering a false alarm. I'm going to stop there because I'm getting scared. Here's the quote that Rich has selected. Shall we play a game? That's my best voice for Joshua. I hope that was okay, Rich. Tell us, what does this have to do with automotive and AI? Rich?
Oh, thanks so much. When you look at where we are in automotive, it's all about the engineering and the design and the implementation around customer journey and customer impact in the value proposition. And this whole concept came from, and where I really believe is why this is important is not only where we are today, but like what Christy said, where are we going in the future? And I just want to take a minute and think about the youth that are growing up today. Are the next generation of leaders of this automotive industry. AI is just a standard tool in their toolkit. They won't know a world that doesn't have AI in it. So what are we going to see in 10 or 15 years from now when they graduate high school, college, and come into the workplace? And I think it's important that everyone understands that, these early concepts from this movie, for example, which starts as a game, but, what I'm watching across the demographic that I'm talking about is young individuals that are able to use very powerful technology tool sets developed by the Microsofts of the world and other big companies to accomplish a task very efficiently. So the human brain ability to learn, adapt, and to maneuver in this world is going to accelerate at a pace that we've never seen before because of these tools like AI. And when you apply this into the automotive space, I think we're going to be able to see more automotive technology, probably starting around safety and active safety. We'll talk about, but also around actionable insights and data that flow from the market back into the factory and the design and engineering of these vehicles around people's transportation tastes and trends in much more real-time fashion. So I'm really excited to see, again, riding the lightning there between what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in automotive, and building physical vehicles that transport us around the consumer experience. I think AI is riding right down the middle of that conversation. I'm really excited what the next, literally, you could say 10 years, but let's talk about the next 6 months, what the next 6 months will bring in AI alone. But the next year is going to be really exciting.
Thank you, Rich. And you mentioned consumer automotive tastes and trends. That would be an interesting topic, is what do people want their cars to look like, to feel like, to drive like, to process, talking about climate and talking about batteries and talking about EVs and autonomy and safety. There's so many issues. will our tastes be? What trends will we follow or will we create? That's a whole other show. Let's go on. Thank you very much. Vic has sent another classic quote. This is number 35 on the American Film Institute's top 100 movie quotes. I don't know if you're aware of that, Vic. It's spoken by Chief Martin Brody, played by Roy Scheider. Everybody likes to call him Schneider, but there's no N in it. It's Scheider. And the movie, of course, is Jaws. Do, 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 do. See, I did sing a little, Christy. Didn't ruin the show yet. 1975 American thriller film directed by Steven Spielberg, based on the 1974 novel by Peter Benchley. Of course, here's the deal. The filming on the water made for a troubled production. The crew was working off of a barge that had equipment and craft services. You know, that's food and other services plus a smaller support boat. The crew complained to producers that the support boat was too small, which was how the famous line came into being. Screenplay writer Carl Gottlieb told The Hollywood Reporter, Richard Zanuck and David Brown were very stingy producers. I can't, it's just on the QT here. So everybody kept telling them, you're going to need a bigger boat. It became a catchphrase anytime anything went wrong. If lunch was late, if the swells were rocking the views, the camera, everything was going wrong. Somebody said, you're going to need a bigger boat. So Roy Scheider started to ad-lib this, Vic, in the movie scenes. He did it so well and so many times that when it came to the cutting room floor, the main editor, Verna Fields, decided to keep his ad libs in the movie. It was not scripted, and it became number 35 on the AFI's top 100 movie quotes of all time. I've researched this many times, and I love telling a story. So, Vic, of course, the line is, you're going to need a bigger boat. Vic, what does this have to do with automotive and AI? Pray tell.
Well, it has tons to do with it, mainly because we're going to be drowning in data. We're going to have to sort that data. And as you look at the AI landscape, the inputs and what's going into that generative AI is all the data that's available to it. So we need more computing power. We need more memory. We need to be able to then distill all of this data that's coming back and what's valuable, what isn't valuable. How do we apply it? If you look at the opportunities an automotive manufacturer is going to be looking at, they're going to get all this consumer feedback. They're going to look at it in terms of what's their profile of vehicle, what's their financial profile, what can we offer them, what's their buying trends, how do you look at all of the information that's available and distill it. So it's a two-step process. The best part is we have the data, it's going to be fed back to us, but the key is going to be how do we consume all of that information and be able to apply it to the business. That's the real key with all of this.
You're going to need a bigger boat. Thank you. That was very, very well done. I want to thank you all for taking the time to pick the quotes. I have some guests who come on and say, I don't want to I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. I don't want to pick a quote. I said, well, sorry, that's the way the show works. So yes. And people say, I have a quote from Mark Twain. No, you don't. No real people quotes. Has to be fictional. Oh, I dreamed about it. No, he's still not fictional. There we go. Thank you all. I appreciate the quotes and I love the classic movie lines. So thank you to those of you who chose those. And Christy, I have to look up that song. Let's go to our predictions. Clint Crook, I've already put your prediction number 1. Let's make this a brief round so we get a lot of feedback here. I'm going to read prediction number 1 from Clint. I've already put it in the chat for him. Clint's going to take 2 minutes to unpack it. Here's the deal. Vic and Rich and Christy, look at me. I think you all have 2 hands with 5 fingers each. If you don't, I'm sorry. But you have 1 middle finger that I don't respond to on each hand. If you want to make a 1-minute comment, agree or disagree with Clint, you don't have to. But if you do, wiggle one of your polite fingers and I will see you and I will respond. Okay, Vic got that right away. Vic, you got my sense of humor, I think, right away. So here's the prediction from Clint, number 1. And while he's doing that, Christy, when you're done, if you comment, I will put one for you into the chat. We'll go around the table. So Clint says AI will be a tool for automotive industry's mundane tasks like appointment scheduling and car loan processing. So this is on the mundane side, but very useful. Clint, go ahead, give us a prediction.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Bonnie. One of the things that we're finding in this industry as we kind of mesh automotive, which is the industry that we all kind of know and love and have a passion for, and we enable AI technology for that, we're seeing that our customers are saying, you know what? We want to be able to use those people in a different way. We don't want them to be bored. We don't want them to be having a mundane work-life balance where work is just a drone. We want to be able to put them in an opportunity where they're excited and they're giving back to the organization. AI is a great tool set to enable those kind of mundane, low level, low interaction business processes within a car dealership and or the automobile industry to help an organization schedule a service bay, schedule a warranty repair, increase customer satisfaction, and really kind of add enablement and benefit and value to the process instead of having a person that's burned out take it away.
Interesting. Rich, I see at least one finger there waving in the breeze. Rich, go ahead, comment.
Quick comment is that I think everyone should understand that the automotive industry always has been and is and always will be a people business. Yeah. And that is the power of AI in automotive retail specifically, is empowering your people to interact with your guests at the showroom and the dealer level to elevate those relationships. AI is a tool to take the mundane workload off of your people so that they can do more powerful, more elevated interactions with your guests.
Thank you. I like the word guests, a guest who are going to spend a lot of money, but you can still be a guest. Anybody else have a comment? Are we good? Okay. Thank you, Clint. I'm going to move on to prediction number 2 from Christy, which is along the same lines of what we're talking about, but I picked it. Let's go with it. So Christy says, no matter how digital we've become, people still want people in the automotive industry. Contrary to popular belief, number 1 is still direct human interaction. If AI is to solve this, we better be very good at acting more human, much quicker. Oh, there's the challenge. Christy, go ahead. How do we do that?
I mean, I think that we don't know how we're going to quite do that yet is the short answer there. But it is, I mean, it's, as Rich just said, we have to have the scale and the ability to solve all of these problems that we're facing, from the build to the experience in the showroom, buying and servicing, and people are going to call into a call center, and we are going to get the automated tools that everybody knows today. We are going to do work in our cars. There's going to be work in our cars. And the key, I believe, is companies like STELLA that we have here, they're working so hard to take what we have, tons and tons of data, their automation processes, and there are AI layers on top of it. So the leader we had yesterday said 10 parts data, 3 parts automation, 1 part AI. How does that all come together in a seamless experience that if you make a phone call, you don't even know if you have a human on the other end or not? We are calling all of these models female names. We've got multiple of those that you're seeing now, from the theories of the world that everybody knows to the one of the companies I work with in automotive. They've got one called Carly, and that's the back end. You'll never know Carly, but that's the business model layer that's going to teach the computers how to be human. Then you layer that with the robotic technology that's about to have a GPT moment, and all the things in the background that they're nearly acting as people. And again, from that build to that buy to that in the car experience, it is going to be much, much harder to tell if you're interacting with a human or you're interacting with a computer. The Land Rover Jaguar leader who was here yesterday, their language around this is so different than I ever expected. It's really like being in the hospitality business, much more so than in the automotive business. And they're calling it your concierge inside of your vehicle. And that's how you're going to connect with the world. It's going to know you better than you know yourself. It's going to know what day of the week you order Starbucks and which day you might change up your order. And it might even suggest an order that you might like better. So there is a chance that we're going to get so good at this that they're going to know us better than we know ourselves.
Very interesting. And Christy and everybody, this recalls to my mind when I was working at SAP, I had over 45 radio series for SAP under the banner of Game Changers. Clint remembers this. That's where we met. And one of them was on the future of, it ran 6 or 8 years. It was a long-running show, the future of Internet of Things. It wasn't with AI yet, just the future of Internet of Things with Game Changers. And I remember people predicting at that point, we're going to have sensors in our cars that will know when a belt is about to break, that will know when fluid is about to run out. And here's where I'm going with this. That sensor will trigger a mechanism that will let you know, get off at the next exit 74 on whatever highway you're on. And Bob's Automotive is 3 miles down, and there's a Wendy's across the street that'll happy to give you lunch. And Bob's Automotive has that belt in stock, and they will take care of it for you. And you'll be back on the road in 58 minutes and get back on exit 74B, and you'll be back and you won't be too late to your appointment. But the point was that it ultimately ended up with somebody's human business who was going to take care of you. And the question is, if AI got involved, and maybe it was at that point, we just weren't talking about it. We're talking about the sensors. But the end result was that some kind of communication had to happen. Right, Vic? A lot of data was involved. The car, the owner, the belt, the part number, the mileage, the highway, the whole scheduling, the map, getting the person back on the road. So we would hope, Christy, that Bob would know he's part of that chain, and he is the real human being who's going to interact with that customer, who all this technology took care of making sure Martin in his car didn't get stuck with a busted belt on the highway and need to call a tow truck. So I'm going to let that one sit. Anybody have any comments other than me on what Christy just said? Because I'm ready to move on. Everybody good? Good? Okay. Clint, you good? Is that a thumbs up?
Yep.
Good. Okay, good. I wasn't sure. Rich Sands, you and I came up with this because I sent you an article about 3 days ago, late last week, that came across as a PR pitch to me. And I thought it was interesting, and you said you'd take it. So I'm going to read this one. HUD. It's not the loan company. It's heads-up display. I have one in my BMW Z4. HUDs will continue to gain popularity with automotive consumers, and AI will be integral to predicting what we will see on the road ahead. So if you want to unpack this for us, Rich, and tell people a little bit about what a HUD is and the role of AI, that would be great. And are they here to stay? Rich?
Absolutely, you bet. So yeah, heads up displays. So this is an advanced technology. It's been out for actually a little over 15, almost 20 years now in various forms in terms of like active speedometers and some initial vehicle diagnostic information. But here's what's really fascinating about HUDs. A HUD is a safe way to inform the driver of something that's going on with the vehicle or a current condition. And the technology is advanced, like Vic mentioned. There's so much data out there. One of the companies I served on the board of, which is called Pursuit Alert Digital Siren, has been able to capture information from other Internet of Things, other vehicles, infrastructure, process it through the cloud and send it to the cloud and present that to the driver in a heads-up display. And so what you're talking about is you're approaching an intersection and there's a high-speed pursuit about to go through that intersection. Well, guess what? That police officer that's pursuing the vehicles that's being pursued, their real-time traffic cameras, they all know that those vehicles are heading towards that intersection at a high rate of speed, and they will not be stopping at that red light. Why not be able to capture that information and send it to the innocent driver driving in the other direction that's about to go through that intersection to give them a heads-up warning? That's real technology that exists today. And the heads-up display is not only just what you see, but it's also what you feel and what you hear. And so we're now able to communicate into the vehicle through the head unit, both a visual, a physical, shake the seat, audio, ding, silence the radio, even lower the window automatically so you can hear sirens, all instantaneously prior to that danger or that problem approaching. So heads-up display, they're absolutely here. It's part of a much larger topic called active safety, which is the advancement of technology beyond passive safety, which is seatbelt and airbags, which is what happens after there's a crash. And now it's all about crash prevention. And you've heard about advanced braking systems and what we're talking about here with heads-up displays. But the cloud technology and the AI that powers that to real-time notify users of what's happening in their local dynamic moving circle of sort of like a safety bubble is really powerful. And I think it's absolutely here to stay. And not only stay, but I think it's going to expand and become probably government mandated, just like rear view cameras.
And seatbelts. Interesting. Anybody have a comment on that?
I
Christy,
do.
go
Yep.
ahead.
Yesterday, I had the ability to see some of this technology, and it's fascinating the advances AI are going to make here. So in two ways. First of all, they have to cover for every situation, like a zebra walking down the street. So how do you train a model to see a zebra, or more potentially applicable, a parked car, and how does it emerge around that? One of the new technologies using AI is able to reduce crashes by 22%. And if there are, 60,000 fatal accidents a year, like that is a huge number of lives that can potentially be saved. And they said they're able to give 6 seconds back with this technology. So imagine a split second is changing people's lives when you're having an automotive accident, right? 6 seconds is a long time. And it's detecting, if somebody's looking at the phone and it's alerting you, as Rich said, in so many different ways, like look up. And I know we've all caught ourselves. Can you imagine what that 6 seconds could do?
Very, very powerful. Yes. And when you think on the life-saving side, the 6 seconds in an ambulance or with a defibrillator or some kind of a life-saving opportunity from an EMT to help you if you had that accident, those seconds are life-saving. Thank you very much. Anybody have an HUD in their car already? I do. Is anybody else? Clint, Rich, Vic, do you have it in yours? Christy, you too?
I do not.
She does not. Okay. I have a 2019 BMW Z4 and it's between me and it's into the windshield. And all it tells me is the posted speed and the speed I'm doing. That's it. It's very simple. But I know, Rich, from the research I did on that PR that I sent you, that there's another version that has AR, augmented reality, where it's like a 3D map in front of you projected in the, that to me would be very distracting because I'd want to talk to it or touch it or something. The other kind is actually in front of the windshield in the car, not projected out to the road. I think that'd be distracting too. What kind do you have in your car, Vic? You want to unmute for a second? Vic, you're muted, dear.
There we go. Sorry, wrong
That's
button.
okay. That's okay.
So basically it does the speed. It also does the navigation. So it'll put the next motion for the navigation system. And the nice thing about it is it's adjustable. So you can put it very low out of your field of vision. So you don't have to worry about it being at constantly.
I have to check and see if mine does that. Clint, what about you? What kind?
Yeah, it's basically just speed. So posted speed versus what I'm doing, usually more than the posted speed. But it also says if like I'm coming to an intersection that I should motion that I should take my foot off the accelerator. So it has a foot and an arrow to say, slow down.
I have to check. Rich, what about yours?
Speed and navigation right now. But I've seen a lot of different versions that are out there in the marketplace, and the ones that have the real-time warning. Most of the warnings are now presented on the center stack on the head unit, like where your radio is. Some will also present straight ahead in their head unit in front of you. But the technology is there and it's really powerful, and being able to interact with the physical capabilities of the car. The key is do not distract the driver. I think that's the point you were going after, and that's where AI has to be a complement. It's got to be a driver assist. It can't be a takeover. Even some of the Super Cruise or some of the Tesla autopilot safety systems, we have all seen stories about what can happen if they don't work. So there's so many different use cases that need to be fully tested to make sure that you can move those into production. I think the driver assist is the right approach. Use AI as a tool to help the human brain see things that perhaps it's not seeing or it's not aware of because it physically can't see, like those speeding cars coming through the intersection ahead.
Christy Stong, unwritten. Vic, comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, the interesting thing is right now they don't work, and with AI, hopefully they will, with the auxiliary applications like Android or CarPlay. So this way, that will work as well within those heads-up displays, because that's the lacking feature today.
Vic, you get the last prediction because we're almost out of time, but I saved time for you, not to worry. Your prediction number 3, I put it in the chat. Vix, everybody, I hope you're all sitting down with your seatbelt on. He predicts brick and mortar automotive sales dealerships will become a thing of the past. When, Vic? When?
Well, first of all, remember it's sales. You're still going to need service. When? I believe that as the boomers age out, because those are the people who are really keeping this model going, hey, I'm one of them, I understand. But this is how, because today's generation doesn't want to deal with this. And with AI, they're going to be marketed directly, and you're not going to need that dealership. You're going to be able to select everything online. They're going to understand what you want before you want it and sell it to you and just say, oh, by the way, it'll be delivered to your door next week, because they've as we're gathering all this data, again, it's all about the data. And I had made another prediction. I'm going to throw it in within this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Automotive companies are going to become data companies. It's true with Tesla today. As they gather up all this autonomous information from their vehicles, that is the data they have. That is available to be sold, to be used, to be mined, to be able to look at who our customers are, how they drive, and what they want to drive. So you're not going to need those dealerships anymore because people are going to have things come to them.
Very interesting. Anybody have a quick comment? 30 seconds. Rich and then Clint. Go ahead, Rich.
Out of total respect, I disagree. I think auto dealerships are here for the future. I think they provide the single point of contact between customer and the brand. And I think the dealers provide that education level, the service level, of course, but the whole full sales cycle as well is one of the most important parts of a dealer's relationship with that customer. It's how a car company connects with a customer. We've seen some recent electric vehicles, car companies that have retracted away from the direct model and going to a dealer model. So I'm a big fan of the franchise US dealer model. So all due respect, I think they're here to stay.
We like provocative. Vic, I'm glad you brought that up. Clint, go ahead. 30 seconds.
No, I was just giving thumbs up again. Sorry, I have active thumbs today. Sorry.
What I wish is that somebody would teach people in oil change companies, you know, the quick oil change, I won't name them, how to reset the dashboard notifications, because I had my oil changed at a reputable place and it still says every time I turn the engine on, warning, you are due for an oil change, you will damage your engine. And I have had friends who drive other made outside this country, or who knows where they're made anymore, sorry about that, cars where nobody can figure out, even when you watch videos on YouTube, it's almost impossible to reset the oil. So I've got brand new oil in the car, and every time I get in, it says, you're damaging your engine, you're overdue for an oil change. It will not get reset. My kids took the car from me, they even showed the video to the mechanic at the place, and nobody could figure it out. It still hasn't changed, and that was 3 months ago. So that's what I wish. Listen, everybody, we're just about out of time, but don't go away. We're going to talk afterwards. So Clint, Crook, thank you for bringing the topic to me. Thank you for bringing Christy. Lovely to meet you, Christy. Your ball of fire. I love your energy. Rich Sands, you and I are going to talk. We have another show planned. Vic Inglese, lovely to have you. I'm so glad Tom and Donna introduced you to me. And let's do something together, Vic. Okay. So, and I want to thank my engineer, Matt at Voice America. And I want you all to, on the count of 3, you're going to join me in a big shout out of no, no, no. I'll tell you what we're going to say. People say the future is already here. And our answer is 1, 2, 3. No, come on. No. Oh, you can do better than that. No. Oh, Vic got with the program. There we go. That's because that was yesterday's future. The future was already gone when I told you we're going to say no. It's in the past now, Rich. Oh my goodness. That's because today's future hasn't happened yet. Christy, it's unwritten. It is unwritten, officially unwritten. And we're going to do our best to drive a better future with AI. There you go. Bonnie D signing off. Thank you all for watching. Wave goodbye to LinkedIn. Wave goodbye to Facebook. It's a lot of waving. Wave goodbye to, you got to really get your waiver in shape here. Wave goodbye to YouTube. Wave goodbye to Voice America. Matt, are we out?
Yep, we are out. Great.